What's up, gang? Paul Dominic here. Today we're going to talk about 5 reasons why you struggle in conversation. As a person that grew up struggling with a lot of social anxiety, I always doubted my ability to, make a great impression on people. I never thought I could make friends or meet women or network or, create an awesome social life, whatever it might be. I always doubted my ability to do those things. So naturally, I struggled in social interaction. Whenever talking to someone, whenever meeting new people, it was always a hard time for me because I was always stuck in my head. Now, for you, it could be something else. It could be nervousness. It could be shyness. It could be, maybe you're just awkward. Maybe you have social anxiety, or maybe you lack the belief in yourself, or in your head you can't see yourself as a person that could create that social life for yourself or that social experience. Or maybe you just lack the technical abilities where it's just like the actual conversation skills, opening a conversation with someone, holding a conversation, networking, closing conversation, navigating group conversation, whatever it might be. But I get a lot of DMs from people, and I've noticed 5 trends, and these are the 5 reasons why. So the first thing we're going to talk about is people go into conversation they set the wrong intention. And I was a person that used to do this all the time. It was like, I would go into the conversation, I'd be like, oh, I need to make this work. I need the conversation to go this direction, and it has to end this way. It was very outcome dependent. And a lot of guys do this with women. I approach her and I have to do this, and this, and we have to get to this conclusion. If not, it's a failure. It's a whole thing. It's like they focus too much on the outcome, and that's partly it's solely based off their intention. What is your intention for the conversation or the social interaction? People set the wrong intention, and that intention is usually based on they need some sort of desired outcome to happen in order for it to go well. Now, the intention you want to set is one of, it's an authentic intention, and it's a productive one. And what your priority should be, I'm just looking to enjoy this social experience, have a good time, and connect with someone. You cross paths with this person in this brief moment of time, and out of all of the other possibilities and people you could have met, this is the person that crossed your path. So your intention should be have fun, have a good conversation, a good interaction, and just try to connect. And it is what it is. Now, that's just going to be your intention, because the other side would be you're trying to make something work. My intention is I need to win this conversation, or I need to get something out of this. Right? It's needy, it's desperate. And then when you're trying to make something work, you do things that make you seem inauthentic and desperate. So don't set the wrong intention. Don't be super outcome focused, where you need to say something to make it work, or I need to do something, I need some sort of outcome. Just focus on connecting, having fun, and having a good time. That's all it is. And the second thing I want to talk about is, stealing the spotlight. And this kind of connects to the first thing with the intention. When we want something to happen, when we want to get something out of the social interaction, we try to impress people, and what happens is we hog the spotlight. It's like we take the spotlight and shine it on ourselves. And what we do is we wind up talking a ton about ourselves in hopes that maybe they'll like what we have to say. Now, people do this, and it comes off very narcissistic, but they'll talk so highly of themselves. They brag about their accomplishments, or where they travel, they this, they that, all the things they have, in hopes that, well, if the person hears me and they hear all these cool things about me, well, maybe they'll like me or something. It's like listen, but the thing is, nobody wants to hear it. It comes off as needy if you kind of have to fill the silence with you bragging about how awesome you are. No one wants to hear it. A lot of people go into conversation so they can explain themselves and feel heard and feel valued and feel like someone listened to them. If you're stealing the spotlight, number one, you're doing all the talking, and number two, you're not learning anything new about the other person. And because you're not giving the other person a chance to speak, you're missing all the opportunities to connect and relate and find similarities and build that connection. So stop stealing the spotlight. Let the other person do some talking and become interested. It's like Dalecarnegie said, if you want to be interesting, become interested. The third thing, and this might be the most important, which is filtering. Now, I used to do this so much to the point where I would sit in conversation and have nothing to say. You might be asking, well, what is filtering? It's like, imagine you have some sort of like food filter in your sink or something like that, where all the little pieces of food try to get down the drain and the food filter stops them. Now, it's the same with your ideas and what you want to say in conversation. A lot of thoughts pop up in your head, right, of what you want to say, but you find yourself silent because the inner critic constantly judges everything you want to say is not good enough. You go, I can't say that because she might not like it, or I might say that because they might think it's not cool. So what happens? You mentally delete it, and now you scramble to find something to say, but the internal critic ramps up and keeps mentally deleting. So now you have nothing to say. You have to stop filtering. A lot of the times it's not going to be good enough because you don't believe it's going to be good enough, because again, you're based on some sort of, you're dependent on some sort of outcome for the social interaction, right? So if I believe what I'm saying is good enough, no matter what it is, it will be good enough regardless of whether they like it or not, because I don't need them to approve of what I'm going to say. It doesn't matter. I could say, oh, look at the sunset. The water looks cool, pretty flat. Trash can down there. It doesn't really matter. Look at all the writing on here. It's good enough for me. I don't need to prove something to you, or I need you to like it. Well, I need them to approve of this and validate. I don't need it. So if you believe what you're saying is good enough, it will be good enough. You say it with conviction. Stop thinking what you're saying or thinking about what you want to say isn't good enough. It is. So silence the inner critic, because it's always going to be present. You just say what you think, say what you feel, and let it go. If they don't like it, that's too bad. Okay? Now, the fourth reason why you might be struggling in conversation is bad questions. And when I say bad questions, I mean closed questions. Now, what's a closed question? Is there such thing as an open question? Yes. So closed questions shut down and close the conversation. I say, here's an example of a closed question. What do you do for work? What do you do? I work here. Boom. Or, did you enjoy your weekend? Yes. So a closed question elicits a yes or no response, or just a one-word response. The opposite of that is an open-ended question. An open-ended question elicits more than a one-word response. So a closed-ended question would be like, do you like hiking? You can only get a yes or a no from that. If I say, what now, how did you get into hiking? That's an open-ended question now, because it forces you to basically almost tell a story about how you got into hiking and give more of a detailed explanation. The problem with closed-ended questions is, because you only get a one-word response, you can't pick up any real details or new information to connect with or follow up on. If you just say, yes, I go hiking. If you just say yes, that doesn't really give me much to work with, because it's only one word. It forces me now to scramble and come up with another question. And that turns into interview-style questioning, where people feel like they're being interrogated. If you now explain how you got into hiking, you might say, oh yeah, my dad took me when we were a kid. We used to go to the Poconos, and the one time we decided to go hiking. Now I have, oh, you used to go hiking with your dad. You spent time in the Poconos. Are you from the Poconos? Are you from that area? So now I have a lot more information to work with versus, do you go hiking? Yes. Now, see how that forces you to come up with another question automatically versus the open-ended question, which gives you a ton of information to pick apart. So you can almost create a thread of the information they gave you and just pick apart their sentence and follow up on each thing and just create more ideas with it and more conversation with it. Now, the fifth and final reason a lot of people struggle in conversation is lack of presence. They might look to the past or be thinking about the past and say, oh man, I did this happened last time in conversation, so it might happen again this time, and it creates some sort of anxiety. Or they might think about the future as, what if she rejects me? What if the conversation goes terribly? Blah, blah, blah. So they spend time in the future in their head while they're in conversation, and they're thinking, creating worry. Or they think back to the past of what happened before. Maybe they've rejected or laughed at or criticized, and now they're creating worry from that. And the whole time, they're not listening to the person they're talking to. Meanwhile, if you became present in the conversation and just listened, all that anxiety and stress will melt away because the mind can't focus on two things at once. If I'm sitting there listening and hanging on to every word you speak, I can't have time to think about what may happen or what happened before is going to happen again. I don't have time to think about that. And that's most of where anxiety comes from, is you're constantly projecting yourself into the future. Constantly projecting yourself in the future. What's going to happen? This is going to happen. It's the lack of presence. And one way you can create more presence in a conversation is through active listening. The whole idea of active listening is you are trying to be completely engaged with what they're saying. Every word that they speak, you are completely locked in on listening, and you're trying to almost imagine what they're saying as well, creating a little movie based off of what they're saying. And that's the idea is to become completely present in the conversation, so it eliminates anxiety, stress, and of course miscommunication too, because now you're fully locked in on what they're saying, so you're catching everything. And to sum it up, now you have don't set the wrong intention. You have stealing the spotlight. Don't steal the spotlight. Never shine a spotlight on the other person. Avoid filtering. You don't want to filter. Silence the inner critic. Avoid bad questions. You want to use more open-ended questions, and you want to be fully present. That is the 5 reasons why people struggle in conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a like, a thumbs up, leave me a comment, tell me what you thought of the video, and please click subscribe so I can bring you more awesome content so you don't miss out. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.